Good evening and a warm welcome to the launch of the Advertising Club Madras much awaited webinar series, the Inside View series. As the president of this esteemed club, I am truly honored to stand before you today and introduce this remarkable fortnightly journey into the captivating world of advertising and marketing excellence. In an industry as dynamic as ours, where change is the only constant, staying ahead of the curve is not just a choice, it is a necessary. The Inside View series has been meticulously crafted to provide you with an elusive lens through which to gain fresh perspectives, actionable insights, and deep understanding of the ever-evolving dynamic shaping our industry today. Over the course of this series, we have the privilege of hosting industry leaders, visionaries, and thought pioneers who will generously share their wealth of knowledge and experience. Our commitment to the advertising and marketing community is unwavering. We firmly believe that knowledge sharing is the cornerstone of progress. The Insight View series not only seeks to enlighten but also aims to foster meaningful connection and collaboration among our members and esteemed guests. As we get deep into the series, you can expect a rich tapestry of topic from the latest digital marketing trend to the power of storytelling in advertising and everything in between. We are committed to equip you with the knowledge and tool necessary to excel in the dynamic field. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today, and we eagerly anticipating an enlightening and enriching experience together. Over to you, Suraj.
Thank you, Bala. Thank you, Mr. Gaurang Thosani, for joining us today and sharing your valuable time. Happy to connect with all of you today who's joined us on the first InsightView series. Let me quickly introduce you to Mr. Gaurang Thosani. With a career spanning of over 15 years, Gaurang Thosani has amassed significant experience in the fields of digital marketing and e-sales. Presently, he holds the role of Head of Digital Marketing and e-sales at Royal Sundaram General Insurance, where his contributions have led to exceptional outcomes in customer acquisition and retention. Throughout his professional journey, Gaurang has held successful positions in prominent organizations, contributing meaningfully to their successes. Notably, he has been associated with respected names such as HSBC, DBS, and ICICI Prudential before assuming his current position at Royal Sundaram. Gaurang's expertise primarily revolves around digital marketing and e-sales. He has been successful in optimizing customer experiences, fostering brand engagement, and executing effective digital campaigns. Grounded in a comprehensive grasp of the digital landscape, he employs data-driven insights to fine-tune marketing strategies, yielding heightened business growth and a solid brand presence. Welcome, Gaurang Thosani. Over to you.
Thank you, Suraj. Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here, connecting with all of you, along with the Madras entire team that we have here. Will not take a lot of time of yours. Let's keep this quick, and happy to take any questions that you have at the end. As the topic suggests, basically we're trying to decode the brand versus performance dilemma, basically bridging the gap between branding and performance digital marketing. These are actually two key facets of from the digital marketing perspective. Let's just talk a little bit about the brand and what is a brand. A brand is something which the way we perceive a brand, the way we understand an entity, and that put together becomes a brand. It can be a physical or basically tangible or intangible format of understanding the brand. Just to give an example today, so for example, Tata. Tata as a brand, there's a lot of emotional connect that all of us have with that brand. That's what makes that brand so strong, right? Now, if you look at Tata, in each category also it's strong. If you talk about steel, we know Tata Steel, and we would resonate with that brand, and maybe if we have an option to, or we have the need to buy steel, we'll go for Tata. Now Tata is also into automobiles. Tata is also into what's it, Tata Namak, with something in the food part as well, and so on, right? In each category, they are known. They are very strong. Now, if you look at, say, for example, Reynolds as a pen, or a Uniball as a pen manufacturer, uh, they're very strong brands, both Renault and Uniball. But if someone, or say Reynolds is offering you Renault steel, would you still go for it? Maybe not, because today, in that category, that brand is not strong. So when we talk about a brand, we should talk about, understand that from the category and on overarching brand perspective as well. Performance marketing is primarily ring fencing the overall customers who have an intent to buy your product or service. The performance marketing primarily we use for that, right? And from digitally, the key benefit from brand or a performance marketing is that we get a lot of data. We have access to a lot of data, which helps us to decide where to go, what to do next, right? This is like just a basics or the background of brand and performance marketing from a digital perspective. Um, if you actually delve a little deeper in it, um, so why should, as a brand, why should I need to balance brand building and a performance marketing initiative, right? I know that a lot of brands, including me at a certain point, was focused a lot more on performance marketing. Uh, that's primarily because the driving force is very short term at that point. We're looking at a technical approach where all that we're looking at is this month I have a target of X. How is it that performance marketing is going to help me achieve that number, right? And then we do a back calculation to understand this are the number of leads that I need and so on. Um, but that, again, that's why I say it's a very technical approach when it comes to just pure as a performance marketing strategy that we follow. Uh, it is very important to be known in the category, which I just touched upon earlier. So Google gives you this data, which is called Category Development Index and the Brand Development Index, CDI and BDI, which actually helps you to understand in which country, which region, or which state, or which city are you strong from a brand perspective and a category perspective. So, for example, from a Royal Sundaram General Insurance perspective, I we offer a plethora of insurance services, insurance products, right? But if you look at, say, travel, for example, travel, while say probably North Indian cities or states, some Delhi. Delhi, I might be well known as a brand for motor, but am I really good at, or people know me as a travel insurer also in Delhi? So this is what that BDI and CDI helps to understand, and uh, this also forms a very key basic uh, uh, base for you to, or for at least for me right now, to figure out how do I focus on, or where do I focus on brand, and where do I focus on performance marketing primarily, and also basically products that we have, right? It's very important primarily to balance your brand building and performance, primarily because uh, performance marketing is very short term. So today, this month, if I'm going to spend a crore on on performance marketing, I'm going to generate certain leads and so on, right? And the moment I stop doing performance marketing, my the leads are going to come to me, or the customers are interested, or the customer whom I'm going to be ring fencing through performance marketing is going to be just absolutely stop if I don't spend the next one. But with brand, what works is if you're spending X amount of money on branding, you're consistent over a period of time, it will give you a long-term effect. And that's, so basically, what is brand? Brand is nothing but it's something that helps you to build the brand identity, trust, and recognition. If customers have that, it becomes that simple for customer to consider you while they're about to buy a certain product or a service, right? So while brand is long term, it is more robust way of growing. And obviously, all of us are in the realm of business, digital business, so we know that uh, if I do not do a performance marketing, then I'm going to lose out on the fruits that I can achieve or I can get in this short period of time through a tactical approach. Uh, and I also said brand activities. I mean, it could be content marketing, storytelling, and the consistency in managing and in messaging. It definitely helps to build the trust and credibility over a bit of time. And performance marketing, while it is very effective in generating quick sales, may not establish same level of trust unless there's a strong brand foundation, right? I mean, look at Nike, Adidas, or they have a really strong brand foundation today, and they're able to garner the numbers that they want along with the brand salience with the amount of spends that they do today, right? uh, Customer loyalty will not happen unless if you're focusing only on performance marketing. Over a period of time, you will see that your brand salience or brand presence keeps dipping because you're not creating that connect, the emotional connect with the customers. And from that perspective, a well-established brand often leads to a higher customer loyalty, and customers are more likely to choose your brand over someone else's if they have that connect with you. And in performance marketing, purely as I said earlier as well, it's actually more a tactical approach where you can capture new customers, but it may not really foster that loyalty, sense of loyalty in the customers. I mean, circling back again to Tata today, any product that comes from Tata, we are quite open to testing it out or using that product is primarily because Tata today has created that brand for themselves, which obviously wasn't built over time. I mean, it wasn't built overnight, but it took them lot many years today, and with the values that we have experienced with Tata, and which is where Tata is where it is today, right? Uh, uh, the other the other reason or to have a mix of brand and a performance marketing is that uh, when you are basically it's a balanced approach, so a brand is much more adaptable and resilient in changing market conditions. The way earlier also we spoke about where marketing is so very evolving, or the communication channels per se are so evolving over a period of time. I remember at some point, I don't know, I'm sure you guys would have also have an Orkut account. Today Orkut is nowhere there to find, right? And today we have other channels of communication. uh, so as a brand, if you are able to create that presence for yourself or be more resilient and adaptable, uh, the connect with and the connect with the customers or the people at large will be much higher, and it's a continuous effort of redeveloping ourselves as a brand, or re-looking at what we stand for and how do we keep growing from that perspective. And so if you rely purely on performance marketing, uh, brand becomes much more vulnerable to market dynamics, which is something which brand will support purely compared to performance marketing campaigns that you may be running. Uh, it's also very important how do we measure the success. So when it comes to brand in digital marketing, you can't say that from a brand perspective that I've spent a crore, I want X amount of business from the same month. It's not going to be possible unless you are already an established brand. That's a different thing. But so different stages of a brand will have an impact on the amount of spends that you do, amount of availability of the funds as well, and what you derive out of it on an immediate basis or a long-term basis. So, being an insurance, if I give an example of say Policy Bazaar today, Policy Bazaar, 15% of the business comes through performance marketing initiatives that they plan. The rest 85% comes from purely brand-led efforts that they've had. Uh, so it itself shows us that how important brand versus performance marketing is, right? Obviously, they also can't ignore uh, a performance marketing completely or brand today saying that we have used Akshay Kumar in past, and today we are well known in the industry, and whenever people want to buy, they come to our platform because it's easy to use and all that. All that is fine, but still today as well, they keep working on their brand. They keep getting new people to come and represent their brand, right? So it's a mix of both. One cannot exist without the other for a longer period of time, or it is not a very robust, strong strategy from that perspective. And it also gives you a competitive advantage. So today, brands that successfully actually balance branding and performance marketing gain a competitive advantage. They can attract a wider audience, build a stronger customer relationship, and also adapt to market changes more effectively. Just today, I read something on news that Policy Bazaar is also looking at uh, becoming an insurer themselves. They're considering it currently. So it's a gradual progression that they've had. Earlier, they were only on D2C. Then they had B2C and B2B both. They also had their own agents, and that's how they started working. Today, they are looking at having their own insurance firm, right? It is just that the way they have built the brand over a period of time, and today they are ready to make that big move as well. Uh, so what I'm trying to tell you here is that it also gives you a competitive advantage if you have a really strong brand. And I'm sure a lot of insurance companies are thinking now, what do we do if PB gets into as a, in the, becomes an insurer themselves? So it's a very, and it's also, I also understand this point where it's a very delicate balance between building a brand where you're not going to get results over a period of time, for a longer period of time, and you always have a pressure, so you want to build your sales funnel much stronger, and you obviously have a limited budget. Uh, but that challenge most of the organizations are going to have. And as a marketer, it's on us how we uh, balance it, the funds, availability of funds, the sales pressure, or the funnel that we want to create, plus build a brand. Uh, there are ways of not spending a lot yet getting a good output or good a brand salience from the efforts that you're putting in, which is obviously a mix of, you can do your PR, you can do your content push with the help of digital your social media platforms, which also gives us a lot of huge potential in the opportunity where we can reach out to our customers. uh, and if I actually tell you, it's so if you compare your digital marketing to offline marketing, the key benefit is that you can focus on a certain segment of your customer when it comes to digital brand efforts that you put in, compared to like an offline. If you put a hoarding, people of all sorts of segments are going to look at uh, uh, your hoarding. But in digitally, you can actually segment people and say that this are the set of people, male, female, age groups, and so on, right? City, state, your even your geo mapping that you can do there. It becomes that much easier, and most important thing, you can track it. You know who's actually following you or who's actually seeing your ad and so on, and derive those metrics, uh, and which helps you to plan the ROI from the campaign as well. And overall, you have an understanding of, or the focus is still there to whom you're going to show your content or the ads to, right? Uh, so while I say this, the common that we also already discussed on this, the basically the basic the common misconception is that this two strategies, both brand building and the performance marketing, are mutually exclusive, which is not true actually. They actually go hand in hand. This is something on my own personal experience over a period of time that I've been doing is, I have been always spending some part of money on brand and some part of my from my budget on performance marketing, which helps me to balance both of things. Because the way I said earlier, right, performance marketing per se, it's a very tactical approach, and over a period of time, your spends in performance marketing keep going up if you're not focusing on your brand today. So even if you have to take a hit today, when it comes to your sales numbers, I would say please take that and put some kind of money on in your brand, so that when this brand goes up, or people uh, are aware of that your brand in that particular category, build that so that uh, at a certain point, I tell you for sure, your performance marketing can reduce and your brand spends will continue on this as a plateau, and still you make the same amount of money, and it makes your brand, your organization very strong. Uh, so again, if you look at different objectives, uh, but it still has the same goals, right? So if you build a brand, over a period of time, it'll start giving you the business numbers that you're expecting. And performance marketing obviously gives you that. But over a period of time, if you do not focus on brand, your cost of acquisition from a performance marketing perspective may go up. So, so in reality, basically, while the immediate objectives may differ, one is a long term and other is a short term. That's why, and both strategies ultimately serve the same goal, which is nothing but driving business growth. A strong brand can always help you enhance the effectiveness of your performance marketing efforts as well, by making the brand more recognizable and trustworthy, which is what as a marketer we always envisage to do, right? To build a much more recognizable and a trustworthy brand. If you look at the synergy between two, if you look at purely brand activities like content marketing or social media engagement, storytelling contribute to the brand building. This, I mean, as we also said earlier, that this often does not give an immediate or not always that you can measure the ROI there. But the cost, I mean, I do that here as an also where the cost, because when you to talk about uh, purely insurance, right? Insurance, there are agents who get in that who get commission and so on. From a direct channel perspective, I obviously have no mechanism of getting in commission or passing the commission to the customers. So here, obviously, for me, I have a cost of acquisition which is upfront. Where in an agency channel, the cost of acquisition is divided amongst what 4 years, 5 years, say 6 years, right? Because the agent is going to get commission over a period of time. But the only benefit here is that the customer is mine and is not through an intermediary, which helps me to build that resilience with the customer. And as a direct brand today, what we're trying to do is exactly that, where we are trying to build that connect with the customers directly. And this is something can happen really strong and easy way, uh, only if you have a strong brand. Uh, the If you also look at the customer journey, branding efforts focus on the upper part of the sales funnel usually, right, where it helps us to create the awareness and becoming part of the consideration set of the customers. This again, this will not lead you directly to a sale immediately, but obviously over a period of time. But if you actually if you have in your strategy have a brand and a performance marketing mix, a right mix, with this, what happens is the customers who are looking at your brand or aware of your brand in your product in your category, with performance marketing, you can ring fence them and get them onboarded. So if you look at the ADA model, right, where uh, brand helps to create that awareness, performance marketing is the last bit where it helps you to help the or push the customer to take the action uh, for the product and services that you are basically offering. Uh, yeah, obviously, all of us know, right? The customer journey is not linear. It's not that the customer comes one and he's going to buy the product or service that you're offering. So, customer usually has a moves back and forth. So, in insurance, if you look at it, you or even a car, right? So today, if you want to buy a car, you're not just going to think one day that okay, I want to buy a Hyundai Verna and go to the showroom and just buy that. There's going to be some level of thought process or a discussion that you'll go through in your own head or with your family members about which car to buy. You review multiple cars, and at some point you'll decide, okay, I want to go for a Hyundai Verna car. Now that transient period that you have, that you go through from the first thought of which car to buy, and during that time, if Hyundai or Honda showcases a set of products to you, that this is the product that suits you best, and you should have it. And if you do not have a performance marketing strategy at that point, And if say probably other brand, maybe if you're going for a Hyundai and a Honda has that kind of an effort, you might get uh, influence to buy the Honda vehicle compared to Hyundai. So part of the entire customer journey, a mix of both brand and performance marketing will help you derive the right results that you're looking for. Um, so and again, the way I said earlier, also right, performance marketing is purely data driven. Lot of data is available where you can analyze and optimize your campaigns to ensure that your burn is less and you're able to garner that number of business or the count of business that you're actually looking for. Now, uh, branding may at times become less data centric, but it only I'm saying that compared to performance marketing, with the digital initiatives, even in brand, you are able to use a lot of data and focus on the segments that you actually want to go for. So, incorporating basically data-driven insights for both branding efforts and performance marketing uh, helps you to interact with the customers in at the right time and helps you both improve your brand strategies and customer engagement. Uh, at the end, obviously, so we look at right. So if you look at insurance, you engage as an insurer, you would engage with the customers primarily during three stages, three requirements. One is while the customer is buying the policy, customer has a claim to file, which is obviously not going to be 100% of the customers, and when the customer has renewals due, right? So most of the customers are engaged for two at two levels while buying or while doing renewals, and few set of customers while claiming, filing a claim, right? Now, how many times do we say that as an insurance is a cost and not an investment? A lot of people perceive it like that, right? So, can performance marketing help us there? Absolutely not, right? It is the digital brand activities or just purely brand activities that you do is going to help you change that thought process where we say that it's a cost to it's an investment. Uh, how many times uh, we as a customer have reviewed our insurance policies, and we always, and that is one of the reason, or we have, how many times have we really understood the product? So today when you buy the product, say probably I think about 45 days you remember what insurance you have and what are the features and benefits of the insurance, and you will go back to the insurance only when you have a claim to file to understand what do I get. But in the midst between these two phases or between buying and renewing, if there's an engagement, a brand-led engagement which keeps happening and telling the customer, connecting with the customers, which will obviously also ensure that the renewals are higher. So, from a brand perspective, it definitely helps us to create that loyalty or that connection with the customer, which helps us over a period of time with business or the pure numbers the way we talk about, right? Uh, okay. I hope I'm not too. Hope I'm not boring everyone here, and making sense, helping you guys to understand at least how I perceive brand and the performance marketing as a channel. Um, I'll straight focus on the examples that I had worked on. This are actually two case studies I thought I will discuss. One is Nike. Uh, all of us, moment we think about Nike, we think about a male or a female model or an athlete running on a road, right? If moment whenever you see that, why is that? Because that's the connect that they have or the image that they have put in a head. You know, Nike by itself today it's just doesn't stand for shoes. Today it stands for agility. Today it stands for power. Power stands for performance, right? And it also is described in the tagline, which is nothing but just do it, right? Uh, uh, this is the power of brand. Uh, what Nike has employed over a period of time. Um, So, and to be honest, Nike consistently produces very inspiring brand content with the tagline "Just Do It." But they also have a good arm of performance marketing where they use a lot of data driven, market specific data that they use with the right customer segments to also personalize, recommend products to the customers, right? Now, this both together is what they were able to achieve, uh, the brand salience as well as the numbers that they're looking at. So, basis, I mean, if you look at the results, Nike today, Nike as a brand, uh, is a very strong brand, and its performance marketing drives a significant online sales as well. So the integration of both is is keeping Nike at the top today, where they, I mean, where they are today, right? So what has Nike done? Primarily, if you look at it from a storytelling, they have Nike tells a very compelling stories, right? Using athletes or the achievements of being agile is very inspiring, and they have been consistent all throughout. If you look at all the ads for last 10 years, 12 years, you would have seen that they have been consistent in their efforts to build the brand Nike the way we look at it today, right? And if you look at the performance data, so by using performance data, Nike today personalizes online shopping experience for customers, and yeah, they also have a recommendation engine where it tells you which product well suits you. Are you looking at sports shoes for running, for walking, or for casual purpose? And basis that they're recommending the products to you. So so what happens is when you look at the data that you can derive from performance marketing, it also can help you, uh, you know, work on the products that you need to develop, because that shows where your strengths are today, and help you also define the products that you want, because at the end you want to offer products to the customer that resonate with them, or the kind of products that they are looking out for, right? So that's Nike. So the results of everything that they're doing is Nike enjoys a very high brand recognition and loyalty worldwide, and they have a good online sales arm, which helps them to grow effectively using the performance marketing. The other brand, if I talk to you about, is would be Apple. I mean, many of us would be using an Apple device or have used an Apple device in past. There is, if you always look at it as a brand, there's always an air around it, right? Uh, Primarily, Apple was, at least in India, it was only a digital brand, right? Where you could buy a product only digitally. Uh, or digitally, I mean, they're saying they didn't have their own brand outlets earlier. Over a bit of time, they had some tie-ups, and they were selling the products to other brand outlets. But today, if you look at, I think I'm aware of only Bombay and Gurgaon. I'm not sure, but Bombay for sure has a Apple brand outlet. Uh, can you? So the amount of experience that they are focusing on from a customer perspective, that they decided to have their own brand outlet. And I'm sure every one of you would have seen some pictures of the long queues outside the Apple outlet in Bombay. That itself tells us, right, that the brand is so strong that people are ready to wait for hours and hours to be able to enter at the end of the brick and mortar outlet, right? Uh, uh, if you also look at the way the brand experience of Apple is, Apple always has been, uh, their communication has been a lot product led, where they have this big huge hoardings that they take up probably in airports or somewhere else, which just says this image was clicked on Apple phone or Apple 13 or Apple 13 Pro or whatever they call it, right? So they're not talking about features there. They're not talking. Sorry, basically they are talking about a certain feature there, but they're not talking about the way an Android phone is sold, right? Where Android people say that this is uh, X and ABC a processor, eighth gen processor, and so on. It has a 50 megapixel camera, or it has I don't know, 15 GB, 16 GB RAM, 12 GB RAM, and so on. Apple never does that. Apple has created its own unique space where they talk about performance, primarily focusing on camera and the UI, right? Uh, which is what has worked for Apple, and they are they're one of the what do you call they own that space in the premium segment today, and Apple has done a phenomenal job there. Uh, but are we saying that then the Apple hasn't focused on performance marketing? They have. So whenever a new product is launched, they have the ads running and so on, where they while as a brand, whatever they have created, the space that they've created for themselves. Plus, they're also looking at performance marketing to ring fence those set of customers. And again, coming back to the experience that the Apple gives today, is it's not just digital. They've also moved to physical outlets where they are trying to create or give the experience to the customers uh, that they think that they deserve. uh, and I'm sure you would have heard and seen people saying that, this is I'm an Apple person, I'm an iPhone person. It's because today Apple customers are known for their loyalty, and driven by a very strong emotional connect with the brand. So I mean, and hence also because of that, Apple consistently achieves the record-breaking sales figures that we hear in news and so on, right? Uh, yeah, and I'm sure you would have also seen that when a new product, a new iPhone is launched in US primarily, there are long queues again just to buy that particular product. That doesn't happen if you only focus on performance marketing. That happens because you have a really strong brand, and the emotional connect that people have with the brand is so strong that people are ready to wait probably overnight to get that newest device, Apple device. Uh, so if I actually have to sum it up, what is more important, performance marketing or brand? I would say both. Both have their own positives, and they are not mutually exclusive, but they're like sides of the same coin, two sides of the same coin, and they go hand in hand. You cannot ignore one on over the other. Otherwise, you are going to have either huge spends on brand. We're not able to achieve the sales numbers, and if you only focus on performance marketing over a period of time, your performance marketing will become much more costlier if you don't have a brand. And obviously, there's no brand resilience, so you're fighting much more, or bidding much more on keywords, and yet you will not be able to achieve the numbers because as huge numbers as you're expecting, because there is no emotional connect, there's no brand salience there. So yeah, I would say both go hand in hand, and any of your digital marketing strategies or spends that you're planning, have a mix of both, depending on the objective and strategy that you want to follow. But definitely, you need to have both uh, deployed very justifiably so that you're able to achieve not just the short term but the long term goals as well. So yeah, that's me. Open for all the questions, if any.
Thank you so much, Gaurang. It was a really insightful session. We will leave the room open for any questions for the next 10 minutes. Please feel free. Please use this opportunity and clarify any queries.
Hi, Gaurang. I think it was really insightful, inputs that we were able to receive from you. You spoke about performance marketing and brand marketing as a separate business altogether. So, in your current way of your perspective, so do you actually, I understand from the perspective that we have one, budget, and then we'll have to apportion the budget towards the performance of the brand. So, is there any, fixed logic that you have, like 70-30, 60-40? Do you allocate your budgets based on that logic?
I That actually depends on the objective that you want to drive and the amount of funds that you have, right? For
Right.
example, if you have about say 10 lakhs only this month,
Right.
and you have a target to achieve say probably 50 lakhs. Now, you will not be in this kind of situation. You will not be able to probably put in a lot more money in brand.
Right.
And probably you might want to have a more tactical approach, which is much more overpowering over the brand. Uh, but even then, so that's a discussion that probably we'll have to have with your management as well. Amount of funds that they're ready to, because it's more strategic call, right? Because today, if you spend probably 1 crore on brand, and if you don't do next month again, so
Right.
that is again not going to deliver you results. There has to be a consistent effort over a period of
Exactly.
time,
Exactly.
right? So you need to have those kind of funds available. So if you look at when Policy Bazaar launched in the country, right? They spent a lot of money on brand. Now,
True.
obviously, they had those kind of funds as well. But today, when I talk about Royal Sundaram, we don't spend. We can't. I mean, I can't even imagine spending that kind of money on my brand. So that's why today I have to balance it basis my brand objectives that I have and the performance marketing objectives that I have.
Right.
But it's a call that you'll have to take over a bit of time and with the management, because brand building is not just for you, for your channel, or just for your business. If you are in the B2C business,
Mm.
it's for the entire organization, which is something which I also had with my management earlier, and we had to take out some funds so that because digital marketing efforts, the brand efforts that I'm going to put in, it's going to help the organization to grow, right, and not just me. So
Right.
that's a very delicate mix that we'll have to have, and delicate discussion that also we'll have to have.
Right. So, because this has been one of the $1 million question. Everybody wants to understand if there is any, let's say that you spend 90% towards performance, at least spend 10% towards brand, so that you are consistent over the period of time.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Gaurang. That was insightful.
Great question, Rakesh. Thank you. We'll go to Nagarajan next, and after which Udaya.
Gaurav, thanks a lot for the awesome Gyan that you gave today. Am I audible?
Yeah, absolutely, Nagaraj.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
So my question is regarding an upcoming brand, somebody who wants to gets into the business. So for them, branding activities are activities that revolve around the brand to enhance the name or the feel or anything around the brand in the minds of the customer involves money.
True.
So, but when it comes to performance marketing or in a minimum scale digital marketing situation, people pull in a minimum amount of money so that at least a bit of sales happen.
True.
So, for an upcoming brand that is penetrating into the market, maybe it's an innovative product or a product which is already there, but what would be an ideal scenario for them to take up branding?
See, branding is not. I mean, people think that branding is very expensive. It's not always so, Nagarajan. So there are with social media today. I'll tell you, we had created a video for about 6,500 rupees is what I paid for one video. I spent about 10,000 rupees more on it, and I boosted that on Insta. I got 5 million views. So total cost was about 16 and a half or 17 odd thousand rupees. I got 5 million views with that. It's not expensive.
Okay.
Right?
So that's the conglomeration that you are talking about.
Yes, it is. So people think that when you need to spend a lot on brand, always that's not the case. The most important thing there is to be consistent, right? If you are doing that every month, every 15 days or so, probably do that for a year or year and a half, 2 years probably, you will get that brand salience over a period of time. And with digital marketing in place, it's not a rocket science, and because you also are able to track where you are spending, who's your target audience, right? Which state you want to focus on, and so on. Usually, people, I mean, again, when it comes to your brand spend, you don't have to spend the entire country, right? So if you think that you have a very regional product, or you know that your product is going to be used at a certain time only by a certain community, to that extent you can push it forward like that, right? where you don't spend a lot, but you still start creating their brand salience. I don't know if you see during Valentine's Day, you see a lot of ads, all are connected with those lovey emotions of products and so on. I remember there was one ring that people were pushing, your finger ring, where there are two hands which are meeting, right? I saw that ad a lot, right? Now, nicely done, right? I would assume they are focusing on people who are between probably 18 to 45, because this is a segment who also celebrates Valentine's Day, right? And also, uh, the price of the product was about 299 rupees. So it's now to make a lot of difference for people. For 300 rupees, if I have to spend to buy a product. So it's an amalgamation of the product that you have, which segment are you targeting, and and what is the price of the product as well. So if you put all that together, and if you have a clear understanding of your TG primarily, it is not going to be expensive for sure, I can tell you.
So we need to narrow down to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can't have spends for brand done across the country, because then you'll exhaust your money probably in a couple of days, depending on the budget that you have. But yeah.
And I also see some of the bigger brands like not to, I mean in the domain, for an example, in a masala brand, they've been pumping a lot of money in advertising, and once the particular stage is reached, and after a period of time, we don't see any ads or any content around that. So is it like they have reached that crescendo that they don't need any more branding like that? But
No. I don't think it's like that. But any branding, whenever you do, you will keep spending. So if you look at a mix from performance marketing and say branding, you spend your brand, you spend on brand for a certain time, and then you leave it for a while, so that you're getting the benefit of the spend that you already have made, right? And you continue your performance marketing initiatives over a period of time, and then you pick up again on your brand spends from that day on, that month onwards. So uh, overall, what happens is your cost of acquisition drops, but your brand, or the impact of your spends on both brand and performance marketing, is able to help you achieve your numbers. So a lot of times I deploy this strategy in performance marketing, where this primarily works for me because in the insurance segment, because the stage from when I uh, as a customer today, if I search for an insurance, but it's a health insurance, I'm not going to buy it tomorrow. Most of the customer, the cycle is about 7 days or to probably 15 days, where people think which one to buy, right? From a quote to purchase cycle. So if I spend, say, probably 10 lakhs this month on health insurance, I may not want to spend 10 lakhs again the next month, right? Primarily because a lot of follow-ups that I've generated this month are going to get converted next month, right? So I've done 25 lakhs this month is my focus, and with 10 lakhs investment. And if I spend 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs the next month, I'll still be able to do 25 lakhs because I have a follow-ups, right? And at the end of the month, I might start spending a little more and then taper it down over a period of time. So these are the strategies over a period of time that we can follow, where you get the desired results. So in your spends, you will see a U all the time, and it may also happen that you may not be consistent in your business number. So maybe 25, maybe 22 or 20, but my cost of acquisition overall reduces, right? So that's a mix of strategies that you follow over a period of time.
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, Nagarajan. We will get Uday, please go ahead, and we'll take the last question from Krishnan, who's been raising his hand for some time. A lot of interesting questions, Gaurang, coming to you. I think the audience will love this conversation. That's a sign of it. So, yep, over to you there.
Uday, I can't hear you.
You're not audible over there.
Do you want to text your question?
So, Uday has asked the question, Gaurang, I'll let you know. It is how to convince the client on the importance of brand building over performance.
I think this question is from my agency. They had to spend a lot of time But I tell you what, all you have to do is give them an example of, maybe you can quote them Nike, you can quote them, get some examples from internet, from Google, where why are people spending? People are not foolish, right? So that is spending a little sum on brand as well, or quite some on brand. Is I think the easiest way to tackle this with your client is, one is to be consistent, and second is give them the data, right? If you look at your bids, you would have other clients, not just one, right? Other clients who are not investing in a brand, look at the cost of bids. Has it gone up or gone down? Because there are only X number of, or amuk number of keywords that you have, right, that you can play around with. If today ICICI, Royal Sundaram, every bond is going to bid on health insurance as a keyword, over a period of time, Google is going to drive that keyword much higher than what is today, right? And also, if you look at it, any tax saving keywords, your bidding will go up during those JFM period, Jan, Feb, March. And it's primarily because everyone is bidding and Google is making money out of us. So today, if you do not create a brand, you are anyway spending that higher incremental amount of money in performance marketing, in which you could have done in brand over a period of time consistently, and ensured that your your brand salience goes up over a period of time and gives you the result that you're looking for with much lesser performance marketing spends, right? Or really not spending so much. And I mean, it just makes sense to grow as a business, to grow organically versus on spends. So also, this is the other metric that you can tell, that the brand keyword that they have for that particular company, how is it dropping or not dropping, or the how many people are searching, saying that, for example, Royal Sundaram health insurance, right? If that drops, then you can tell them, go back and say that your brand salience is dropping, and that's the reason people are not searching for you as a brand. Um, the other way, yeah, I mean, that's, and organic leads that the customer, that your brand is getting. If that drops, that is also an indicator that you need to spend money.
Right. Thank you for that, Gaurang. And we'll take the last question from Krishnan.
Suraj, I don't think Krishnan is still around.
I can see here he's on the call. He's unmuted himself, but I guess a mic problem there as well. Fair, we'll give Krishnan another 10-20 seconds. If not, we'll move it to Umanath.
Yeah.
Just give it another 10 seconds, Uma.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Right, looks like there's an issue with Krishnan's mic. Over to you, Uma.
So let's wrap it up. Myself, Umanath, the treasurer of Madras Advertising Club, and I take opportunity to thank Gaurang and all for this wonderful session. And today's session had some wonderful knowledge takeaways. Gaurang was in fact delving deep into brand salience, brand loyalty, business performance marketing, some interesting ways of how to integrate both for better ROI, and some related challenges in meeting the sales pressure, and also need for balancing both brand building and performance marketing, with some case studies related to Nike and Apple. And he also shared his views for some amazing Q&A session. Thanks for the overwhelming response from the members. I think you all had enjoyed this session very well. This is the first session of Insights View series, a knowledge series that's been initiated by Madras Advertising Club in order to empower our members and the industry by bringing in some senior leaders from across the ecosystem to share their knowledge and empower the industry and the members and the advertising community to gear up for the future challenges. And the first one, it turned out to be very knowledgeable, and we look forward to more such wonderful sessions. Once again, thank you, Gaurang, for your time and for sharing valuable insights. We would love to engage with you in our future initiatives also. So it's on behalf of Madras Advertising Club members and the community, advertising community, my sincere gratitudes for you once again. And I also should thank our team, Indra and others from the Hat Club, Madras Hat Club's office team, who are meticulously trying to put everything in place, coordinating. My President Bala, who initiated this, in fact, it is his brainchild. I can say proudly that suddenly one fine afternoon it cropped up, and he put it in no matter of time, maybe just in matter of a fortnight. We just organized this, and this started off. And Suraj, the secretary, for sharing his thoughts and his time towards devoting his time towards organizing the whole thing. And Ayati digital team, Upendra's team, for doing the digital media promotions to make this initiative to reach to all the corners. So with this, I end my session, and let's look forward to future session of Insight Views. We will come soon. We will come out with another wonderful session, and it will be a fortnightly, and we will announce the next speaker very shortly. Thank you all. Thanks for your patience, and hope you all enjoyed this and take away and looking forward.
Thank you, Uma, for your kind words. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bala.
Thank you, Gaurang.